What's life like in Yeah, we
Life,
know.
life going to normal, but still not normal. But because after vaccination only can go to the restaurant and shopping center. Without
Okay.
vaccination, they are not allowed inside the shopping center or restaurant.
Okay.
The
So
table sit down is 2% only allowed to sit for eating food or anything dining.
so how
Still
many
have
people
the restriction.
okay. So how many people can sit together?
2%. Vaccinated 2%. If no vaccine,
Only two persons.
yes. No, one table per table, not in the
Wow.
hall. Maybe one table 2% can sit. Another thing is if you never vaccine, take away. The food must take away. Cannot sit down.
Oh, really? Oh my
You can show
gosh.
your cell phone. The cell phone have the software. You open the phone, you show you vaccinated or not vaccinated. That is update on your phone.
Okay. Um, right. So are there a lot of people who can't go to restaurants then? Are there a lot of or I think in Singapore most people are vaccinated, aren't they?
85%, I think. 85.
Yeah, that's why it was surprising. I think it's the same in the Netherlands, that Singapore and the Netherlands have had quite a lot of growth in the coronavirus cases, because they're both really highly vaccinated countries. But I guess we know already that vaccinated people can get the coronavirus. So I suppose there's
Yes,
not a lot
yes.
you can do.
If vaccinated, if you are vaccinated, that does not mean you are not affected the COVID. You still can infect the COVID-19, but the recovery is very soon. Maybe 3 days, four
Yeah,
days you can recovery.
yeah. And I suppose as well that you can still transmit it, which is why they're saying you can only have two people, right?
Yes. Still can transmitted to others, and you can infected everything, but the recovery is soon. After vaccinated, your
Right.
body recovery can be soon.
Oh, that's not so bad then. Well, let's hope. I hope you don't get sick. Do you actually go to many restaurants or anything, or do you not bother
I
right now?
mostly take away. I
Yeah.
take away and I sit my lorry and eat my food.
Is that to stay
Mm.
healthy, or is that just because that's what you normally do? Or have you changed
No,
what you
this
do?
is like yes. Now I always never sit down the restaurant during the working time.
Hmm.
I prefer to sit my lorry and eat and sleep, take rest, small nap. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same for me. I mean, here you can't go in a restaurant either if you're not vaccinated. Um, but I would rather not go out anyway. I haven't been out for a while now, even when I could go and sit in the restaurant. So yeah, I'm the same with you. It doesn't really affect me very much, to be honest with you. Well, it's my husband's birthday. I'm having a holiday because it's my husband's birthday on the 17th. When's the 17th? Wednesday. So we're not going to go to a restaurant. We already decided we didn't want to go to a restaurant. Like I said, I don't think, I think a lot of people are staying at home right now. So I'm going to make him a nice chocolate birthday cake. And we've got some nice, some steak to eat for a birthday.
Mhm.
What's the restrictions like on visiting India because of the outbreak? Are you still restricted on being able to visit your family?
Yes, still the border never open for traveling. India to Singapore.
Are
Still
you?
they never. Still only if I don't want to work, I cancel the permit. I can going back can. But holiday, the government, Singapore government still not allowed holiday. You want a holiday, go back
So
India.
do you guys celebrate Christmas? Do you have a
Actually,
Christmas
yes,
holiday?
yes. But I am not celebrate. But we Singapore is the public holiday.
Are you going to see your family then, or do you think you probably won't be allowed to go
No,
then?
my family celebrate the Deepavali. We are Hindu, but Deepavali also
Yes.
last November 4. I never going back to home.
So when's the next big holiday in India when you would
I
normally go back
I
home?
I plan April, coming April, 2022, April.
Well, hopefully 2022 in April,
Yes.
everything should
I
be
think
good.
no problem. April should be clear everything because now the border all open. I think Singapore to Korea, Singapore to British, some they open the border, some countries.
Yeah.
So after January coming normal because no choice. You have to deal with the COVID-19. You live with the COVID-19.
Yeah. And if most people are vaccinated, I mean, what else can you do? There's not really much else you can do, can you? Unless everyone in the country stays in the house.
Unless COVID 22. We don't know. Now COVID-19. Maybe next
Yeah.
time COVID 22
COVID-20.
release.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe the
Yeah.
China government they released 22. I don't know. Because I
Oh,
think somebody said this is the cyber attack. Maybe this is a biological warfare or
a
something.
biological attack. Yeah. I think what they've discovered, although the Chinese government doesn't like it very much, I think the evidence mostly points towards they were looking at biological weapons and they didn't mean to release this
Yes.
COVID.
Yes.
Releasing it was an accident, but they were developing it. They just an accident that it got out. Oh, whoops. Pretty big accident, right?
It's all secret. We don't know.
Yeah,
In the
exactly.
world, in the world, it never disclose many secret. Maybe this is the one.
Well, I was just teaching someone this word actually. Covert. Have you heard of that word before?
Covert, yes, I know. Covert.
Yeah.
I think the who's the English poet Shakespeare says once said he says the coverts die many times before their death, but the valiant never taste of death, but once.
Not covert. This
Uh,
is the coward. The
oh, this
coward.
is different.
Yeah, that's not brave. Covert.
Oh,
Oh, sorry,
this
coward.
is
That should be
the
coward.
cover. This is how to pronounce covered.
Coward.
Covered.
Yeah,
Okay.
like cow.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, and
Covered.
erd.
Okay,
Yeah.
covered. But what is the meaning of covert?
Covert is hidden
Oh, covert is hidden. I never heard
or
before.
secret. Yeah. The opposite is overt, which means it's in plain sight. Everyone knows about it. Yeah.
So
So yeah,
covert is hidden, overt is open.
everyone
Close.
knows about it. Yeah. Yeah. So it's overt that there are 4 main vaccines, the Johnson & Johnson, the Moderna, the Pfizer and AstraZeneca. What's covert is where the COVID-19, like you said, came from in the first place. Yeah, that's hidden. Yeah, and I think you're right. I think that's going to stay a covert thing.
Covert
Well,
and covered, totally different words.
coward. Yeah,
Covered,
coward and covert. Covert.
covered.
So coward, yeah, which is coward. Yeah, and covert, which is this one. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Like that. Accidentally hit the eye. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Well, you mentioned last time you'd like to look at would rather
Yes, yes.
and would.
I think the rather, how to use the rather and would rather. Yes, rather. So I see without would rather also we can use some sentence right. Rather than or only use
Yeah, we can also use rather than as well. Let me have a look. Rather than. Oh, hang on a second. Where's my other?
Rather than is a preference or choice, how to say, preference or.
Yeah, I'm just going to have a look. Where's my rather than? That's would rather. Hang on. Rather than grammar exercises. Rather would rather than englishgrammar.org, which I think is that one I had. Yeah, that's that one. Right. If I look at, let me also give you an explanation for rather than grammar as well. I just
Would
realized.
only, okay, would rather than, only we can use simply the rather, also can use some sentence, right? How to use,
Yeah, let me start with both of them. So I'll start putting this one in. Right, every time I look at a new web page, I'll put it into Skype as well. Rather, would rather. Right, let me put it in your notes as well. So if we look at the dictionary for rather or rather than, let me share my screen with you. Share screen here. Okay. Rather than, alternatives and preferences. Let's just stick at plain old rather than. Rather than is when you're choosing between two different things. Yeah, basically. So would you like to read those two sentences?
he wanted to be an actor rather than a comedian. He wanted to be an actor rather than a comedian. What is the difference? Comedian and actor is both same?
No, an actor is someone in a film. They could be serious. Yeah, they could be like in a Shakespeare play, like you mentioned Shakespeare. A comedian is someone who's always funny.
Funny. But
Yeah,
comedian also actor, is it? Comedian
could
also actor.
be. Could be, but not necessarily.
Mhm.
Some people are comedians and they stand and they tell jokes,
Oh,
but they
standing,
can't
standing. Yes,
act.
yes, yes. Stand-up
Yeah,
comedy. Mhm.
yeah. So not
He wanted to be
necessarily.
an actor rather than a comedian.
So
So
these are
what is
two
the
different.
meaning? This meanings he want to be an actor, but he don't want to be a comedian. Is it?
Yes. So I give you two different options. So yeah, try the next sentence as well, and then we'll try some together.
Can we come over on Saturday rather than Friday?
So we want to do Saturday, not Friday. We want to be an actor, not a comedian. So I could say, no. I like to have dogs. So I want to use would, but that's the next one. I like to have dogs rather than cats. Yeah. So options.
Yes.
So I've got two options, dogs or cats. I like to have dogs rather than cats. So if you've got two options, Indian food or Singapore food, what do you like to eat best? Singaporean food or Indian food?
Yes, I would like to eat the Indian food. So this is how to say. I like to eat Indian food rather than Singapore food.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right. So you
So
have,
okay, here this meaning that mean I like to Indian food, but I don't like Singapore food, or compare I like this. What is
it
the meaning?
means being a comedian is okay.
Mm,
Friday would be okay, maybe.
mm,
Singaporean food is okay, but you like Indian food better. I've had cats as pets. Cats are okay, but I
mm,
like dogs better.
mhm.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that you hate the other
So
thing.
doesn't mean I hate the other means. So better. We think the better
Yeah,
choice. This is the better. Mm.
that's right. That's right. It's
But
exactly
here
what I
I
think.
want to know what is the different is the instead of. Instead.
Oh, instead of, right.
Instead of.
Now, if you use instead of, if you say, shall I I want to be an actor instead of a comedian, yeah, that means I don't want to be a comedian at all.
So
I
if
want to be an actor.
yes, the main difference instead of and rather than
Instead
means
of,
instead means I like one thing, another thing I don't like. Is it?
that's one meaning. And the other thing is maybe you've already got or already doing the other thing. So this is Cambridge Dictionary, isn't it? Let me just clear the drawings. Let me go to the Cambridge Dictionary and do instead of as a comparison. Cambridge Dictionary instead of. That's instead. Yeah. Oh, no. Not instead. We want instead of. That's better. So it means like in place of something. So again, let me put that in to here. And I'll put it in your
spend
notes.
more time at home instead of going out drinking with your friends every night.
Yeah. So it means that here, in place of, you do this and not this. Here, rather than, is what is you like one thing more than the other.
Oh,
If
more than the other.
here, that's what I mean, you're already doing it. So here, if I say, shall we come over on Saturday instead of Friday, you mean not Friday. If I say, I will teach you this Sunday instead of last Sunday, not last Sunday, this Sunday. I'll wear a black cardigan instead of a red one. Not that, the other. Rather than just means this is better for me than this. It doesn't mean not the other. So if I say I would.
Yes, the main difference instead of means you don't want the other thing, but the rather than is better choice.
Yeah. So here
Another different, I think I saw the YouTube from YouTube. Instead of is always follow the ing from the instead of.
no. You can use it, well, you can use it with ing. Yeah. So but you can also use it, as you can say in here, you can use it instead of with noun. But yes, or so instead of with noun or ing. So let's just write that. So let's just write that in the chat. So instead of means in place of, not one thing do the other. So it's either verb plus ing because it's got of, or a noun. Yeah. So if you look at, now let's clear these.
Place of verb by ing or noun.
So if you read this one,
instead of plus verb plus ing plus noun. Both can. So which is now okay? You are waste.
You waste, yeah.
You waste a lot of water by having a bath instead of a shower.
So you
instead,
don't do
okay, how to pronounce instead or instead?
Instead, like the second one.
Instead.
Instead is like there's no way. It's
instead
more like
of
that.
A shower.
So it means not a shower, have a bath. Yeah.
Having a bath instead of shower. What is a different bath and shower?
A bath is, oh, well, that's easy, actually. Let me show you a picture. It's really easy. To have a bath. Images.
Bathtub.
There you go.
Bath is bathtub. Use the bathtub, is it?
To have a bath or take a bath. Yeah.
This is
Or
the
yeah. But to have a shower is completely different. You stand up.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the difference with that. Now you can use it with ing. So if you read this one, this is an example with ing.
Going out to drink. Yes, this is ing. Then another one is noun.
So more time at home instead of going out drinking. So not going out drinking, want you to stay at home. Yeah. So that's instead of. Now, if we go back to rather, would rather, we'll look at that in a minute. We can also use rather than something, you do this. You can use it at the beginning too, when you've got two options. Rather than pay the taxi fare, he walked home. Now, you could say instead of paying the taxi fare, hang on, let's try again. Instead of paying in this case, because this one absolutely means the same, not one thing, but do the other. Now, rather than, we can use infinitive, or what we call a bare infinitive, which is no to, yeah. Or you could say rather than plus the ing.
Bare infinitive, not to, not to. What is the meaning? Not to mean we, rather than to. We can't use the to.
You can't say rather than to. Rather than, right? Or rather than plus the verb with the ing. So if you read, we can do both of them. Both of them are fine. If we read these two sentences, yeah.
So rather than can use the verb plus ing and noun rather than, and we can use infinitive, is it?
Yeah, but it's the bare infinitive. You can't say rather than to pay. Yeah, just rather. So could you just read those two as an example?
Rather than pay the taxi fare, he walked home. Rather than paying the taxi fare, he walked home. Both same meaning, is it?
Same meaning. And you
Okay,
could use instead of here. Yeah. And you could say, can we come over on Saturday instead of Friday? You could say that, but it means you're definitely not going to do one, but you're going to do the other. If you say rather than, it doesn't mean you definitely don't like or definitely don't want to do the other one. Yeah. You can use both of them in pretty much the same way, but instead of has a stronger meaning. Definitely not one and definitely not the other. Rather than can be used in a less strong way, if that makes sense.
Yes, yes.
You can also use rather to correct yourself. Yeah.
So only rather, what is the meaning? If we never join with the rather than, only we can use the
Right.
rather.
Rather, we can use, well, we use it with or to correct ourselves,
We
to
use
re-explain or to re-explain. Yeah. So I could say, I felt a bit chilly today, or rather it has been very cold. So you can use or rather to clarify or correct.
or rather. We use or rather to correct us. Or rather. We
Or
use or rather
clarify.
to correct ourselves. He commanded and I obeyed, or rather I pretended to.
Yeah. So instead, you didn't really obey, but you wanted to look like you did what they said. Yeah.
So what is the meaning or rather?
So or rather can be used to, let me write that. Or rather can be used to clarify or correct yourself. So you can clarify the meaning. So
Correct.
So I could say it was a little colder today, or rather it was below freezing. It was below zero. I don't know if it was. No, it wasn't today, but yeah. Or I could say I listened to the lecture, or rather I didn't fall asleep, meaning I didn't really listen to it that hard, but I didn't fall asleep. Yeah. So it can clarify or explain. Yeah.
Okay.
Now I've given you links to both of these in Skype, or I should have done anyway. Yeah. So I've given you links to rather and instead of, so both of these pages. And like I said, we also need to look at would rather, but instead of looking at the Cambridge one, there is a Cambridge one on would rather with typical errors and things, which I will also put in here. But rather than start with this one, rather than start with this page, we will start with a different page. Yeah. So out of the two choices, this is still good, but I want to start with a different page. I want to start with this one, which tells you a little bit more about would rather, because we've got that. No, I'll start with this page. This was the page that I thought would be better. Sorry. Which was that one? So I could say, I'll start with this page. Oh, or rather, I'll start with this page because I think this is better. See? So I've used it to correct myself there. So here we've got would rather or would prefer. Yeah. And we use it, would rather and would prefer basically have the same meaning. Yeah. So would rather is just with the
so would rather is talking about the past life, or
it's a specific preference in general, and it's true now. Yeah, preference, sorry, it's true now. Would rather is the bare infinitive, but would prefer is the full infinitive. So it's would prefer to, full infinitive. Yeah. So if you look at the preferences, you could say it in either of these ways. Do you want to read that one for me?
We went to the theater yesterday. Today I would rather go to the cinema. We went to the theater yesterday. Today I would rather go to the cinema. What is the meaning? We went to the theater yesterday. Today I would rather go to the cinema.
Would rather or would prefer to means would like to do this, not the other thing. Just the
would
same.
Rather,
You
would
got
prefer
two options.
would like to do this, not the other thing.
So I would
we
rather
to
go
the
to the
yesterday.
cinema, not the theatre. Yeah. So this means that the cinema, yeah, like to do that, not the theatre. Thank you very much. Yeah. Now this is rather go. If this means exactly the same, could you read that?
We went to the theater yesterday. Today I would prefer to go to the cinema.
And this has two.
Would prefer to go to the cinema, would rather go to the cinema. We went to the theater yesterday. Today I would rather go to the cinema. We went to the theater yesterday. But this is true, is it? We went to the theater yesterday, and today I would prefer to go to the cinema.
Yeah. So
but
now,
yes, the both is true. Yesterday went to theater. What is the different theater? We go theater for cinema, is it? Not what is it?
No. A theater is where we go to see live performances, people
live
dancing or
performance.
singing. Cinema is a film. Yeah,
Or
like
theater,
Bollywood.
but we in Singapore we say always theater. In India, I think we use
Ah,
theater for cinema and both same.
yeah. I think in the US,
Mm,
they have the word, they use movie theater. Yeah,
mm.
which is the same. So a movie theater,
Oh, movie theater.
not just a theater, movie theater is the
Mm,
same as a cinema. Yeah.
mm.
Whereas if I put in the word
Theater.
theater,
Mm.
just theater, it's not a
Just
cinema. Yeah. See, this says film theater. Yeah.
mm.
Just a theater is where you
It's
see
a
real people.
stadium. Some state. This is just theater means hall. Is it program hall? Some
Yeah.
program.
Where you see a play or a musical, you see real
Mhm.
people. Yeah. Real
Mhm.
people like this doing something on a stage. You're not watching a film. It's
Uh,
something real. Yeah.
how to say the drama? People still do the drama theater also. Also drama theater is it?
Yep. Yep. But a drama is a genre, a style. You could see a drama, you could see a musical, you could see a ballet.
Mhm.
Yeah. You could see a magic show. You could see a singer at a theater. You could see a concert. Yeah. Theater, concert. So for example, you could see a concert. So you could go to theater and
Oh,
see people
concert.
playing music.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like this. So you could see people
Stadium.
playing music.
So the stadium is different. Theater and
Yeah.
stadium.
Yeah.
Stadium is different.
A stadium is a lot bigger. So
Bigger.
if I put the word a stadium here, yeah, a stadium is, yeah, huge. That's a stadium. Yeah. So a concert at a stadium, it's massive. Look how big. And quite often they use football stadiums for concerts and they're outside. Yeah. See, there's no roof. They're outside. Yeah.
So, no roof outside.
Yeah.
This is also stadium, is it?
Yeah. A theater, look at it, has a roof. A theater is inside.
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
Covered roof.
yeah, that's right. So it doesn't matter if it's raining or anything, it's inside. Yeah. So that's the main difference. That's the main difference.
Mhm.
Okay, so if we go back
So
to
here
here,
the would rather means the meaning is would rather means like to do, is it? Just like preference.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
to do, would
Again,
rather.
it's just like would
This
rather
is not
is
compare,
what
is
you
it?
want to do.
Would rather is not
Yeah,
compare.
you're still comparing two things,
Or still
but it
comparing.
means you want to do this and not the
But
other
okay,
thing.
in we would rather and rather than that means same meaning. Rather
Yeah.
than.
Uh I would, right, you could say, let me think of two different ways that I can. Where's my Zoom controls? Why can't I see my Zoom controls? Am I still sharing my screen? Oh no, I'm not sharing my screen. It's stopped. Okay, let's try that again. So I could say, I want to go to the cinema rather than the theater, right? Or I would rather go to the cinema than the theater. Same thing.
So meaning is same. Rather than and would rather.
Absolutely. Would rather, we use would rather is polite.
Oh, would rather is polite.
Would rather or would prefer to are both polite, so using would. And remember, you can abbreviate them. So instead of saying I would, we could just say I'd. Yeah.
I'd.
Now, when you're using prefer, you can use a noun. So you could say, would you like vodka or a cup of tea? You could say, I'd prefer tea. Yeah.
I'd
But
prefer.
if
Prefer
you're
plus
using,
noun.
yes, you can say that. But you can't have a noun with I would rather. You'd have to say, I'd rather have tea. Here you need a verb after would rather.
After would rather must need verb.
Yeah. Whereas when you use rather than, you can use a noun. I'd like an ice cream rather than cake, rather than a noun. But after would rather, you've got to have a verb. I would rather eat an ice cream than a cake. Yeah.
So rather than plus noun, would rather plus verb.
Yeah. Now, after would rather, I wanted to choose this one rather than. See, I wanted to use this one rather than this one because I think this one has better explanation. We use a past tense when would rather, even if it's talking about now. So I'd rather you took a taxi instead of walking. Yeah. I'd rather you read this book instead of looking at the internet, for example. Yeah.
I would rather read this book.
You read this book. Yeah. So read as in the past
read.
tense of it. Or I'd rather you I'd rather he made a cake, not a sandwich. I don't know. Notice here, this is talking about actions of other people. Yeah. So I would rather person past tense verb. Yeah.
I would rather past tense verb.
So I would rather my dog slept than ran around barking. Yeah.
I would rather he made a cake, not a sandwich.
Now, this is where we can link them together. We've talked about would rather than, I'd rather one thing than another thing. Yeah. So, for example, I would rather have a long lunch break than leave work early, for example. What would you rather do? Would you rather have a long lunch break or leave work early?
I would rather have a long lunch break, but we don't have.
Than leave work early, because you've got two choices. You can
1
either
hour,
leave
1
work
hour.
early,
Yes.
and instead of I prefer rather than, you can also say I prefer instead of. Yeah. Or I would rather instead of. You could also use would rather and then instead of. So I would rather go walking instead of running. Yeah. So this is when we can look at using would rather and instead of together. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
And again, I've given you the links for this, so you can have a look at all of these. Now, the only thing that I like with this one, I'd rather not. Yeah, short responses, much rather now. Same subject, would rather not. Now we've talked about here, they did something. Would you rather I wasn't? I would rather you hadn't rung me. Much rather. These are the ones that I wanted to do here. So we've done those. This just adds a little bit more to what I'm talking about. So let me put these in here as well. So this just adds the fact that, where's my, yeah. You could also use much rather. I would much rather if you want to emphasize. Yeah. So I would much rather have a good night's sleep instead of partying. Yeah. So that's emphasis. And do you want to go for a coffee? You can say yes. Or if you don't want to do something, you can say, I'd rather not. Means I prefer not to. Yeah. So I'd rather not. I would prefer not to. Yeah. So if you say, ask me, Rose, would you like to go out to a party and meet 20 of my friends who all have coronavirus? I'd say, I'd rather not. Thank you. And again, this is a polite no.
I would rather not. I'd rather not.
Now this one would sooner means you prefer as well, but would rather, it says you don't use it with an ing form or a to. I would rather do something. You can't say I would rather going for a walk. Yeah. But we know that. We've already talked about that. And that's really good timing. So I suggest, and I'll just go to your notes, that we do next time, we will do rather than, would rather, exercises. Yeah, we'll do these next time because what I've got, these were my explanations. Let me just shut those down. And what I've got for next time, oh, this is another one, but we've got, should have some exercises. Yeah. Oh, there's a bit more there. Oh, a lot more there. Is there any exercises there? Yeah, that's what I wanted, the exercises. Yeah, so there's some prefer and would rather exercises here. Rather, would rather, rather than exercises here. Would rather, would prefer. Yeah, we can have a look. Have I got speak on here? Hang on a minute. Where's Shan? Shan. Have I got speak on? Yeah, I've got speak on here. Good. I couldn't remember if I had. Oh, that's the pronunciation. We didn't get to those, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, so would rather than. We've got 3 different exercises here that I think would be really useful for you next time. Okay. And we can do some pronunciation as well. But I just wanted, I know you asked about this, so I thought this would be a good thing to do for today, and then we'll do some exercises next time, maybe some pronunciation. Does that sound good to you?
Yes, we need to, I need to improve the pronunciation.
Right, no problem.
And
So
some vocabulary also, if we can do some important vocabulary today, the similar, the covert is it?
yeah,
Covert, similar, maybe 1 or 2 vocabulary every class, learn the new vocabulary also.
Okay.
Important,
Well, what I prefer to do is what we can do is get something like that worksheet. I'll put that in there. I might find a worksheet for you on a subject. Yeah. And then that worksheet would have a little bit of new vocabulary, and then it's important with vocabulary that you use it together with me in an exercise. Yeah, so that might take a whole lesson on itself, and then so we'll do some exercises for would rather
Yes,
first.
I believe the vocabulary, if I read myself and we talk together, is better because I read easily forget. Maybe you tell some important vocabulary we discuss, it won't forget, is it?
Well, yeah, the problem is if I just give you it to read, like you said, okay, you might remember it for a little period of time. Yeah, you probably won't just forget it immediately, but it doesn't go into your brain so much. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Whereas if you do something with me and then we talk about it for a bit and we discuss it and use it, you're more likely to remember it a little bit more. So I'd rather take the time over doing that and make sure that that we spend a little bit of time using the vocabulary, not just learn it, but also to use it.
But
So
full class we do vocabulary also we forget. Maybe one or two vocabulary.
yeah. Well,
Maybe one
I've
or
put,
two and then pronunciation and some grammar lesson.
yeah, exactly. I've put vocabulary in there. So what I'll do is I'll look for a worksheet and we'll finish off some of these exercises next time and maybe start something on vocabulary and go from there. Does that seem good?
Yes.
Righty ho. I'm going to go for a quick break and get my back a little bit better.
Okay.
For a couple of hours, and then I've got just 2 more classes and I can carry on with my holiday. Sorry about last week. I'm sorry about Windows starting up, but I will see you the same time next week, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Speak to you later. Bye for now.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.